Hey, I want to introduce you to a wrinkle. So if you don't know, as of August 17th, every buyer in the country needs to sign either an exclusive buyer agency agreement or a temporary one-off non-exclusive agreement. Why this is important is because this has changed the real estate landscape, but it also affects sellers. So now, because seller commissions aren't going to be put anywhere on the MLS, agents have to ask the listing agent if there is a seller comp. What we've seen early on in the first 3 days is a lot of people saying, just submit your offer, we'll let you know, they will consider a comp. But I want to let you know about a wrinkle that could affect what sellers are doing. So in my opinion, sellers should still know what their comp is, and they should be letting them know through the back channels, which is legally done, which is just not on the MLS. The reason why is because in the buyer's agency agreement, and if you haven't watched it, I have a 27-minute video going through the entire buyer agency agreement. You can find it here, so you can bookmark that for later. Watch that whole video if you're a buyer or a real estate agent, or even if you're a seller who wants some understanding of what is going on and why now you have to reconsider your commission point of view. But there's one really important point. So if you're watching the video again, you're going to go to page 3, line 109. So there comes a point in the buyer agency agreement where the buyers can actually check boxes for what they do want to be shown and what they do not want to be shown. And there's a box that says, do not introduce buyer to any properties where the following conditions exist. And then they can fill something out after that. So let's just say, for example, you're a home buyer and you don't want to pay a commission. You want it to be the old ways and you want the seller to pay. And you don't even want to see any houses if they won't confirm what the buyer's comp is. Because do you really want to go as a buyer in and see a house if you have no idea if they're going to compensate, what that might be, if you have to come out of pocket? It's going to be very dicey. So home buyers will be able to put in here, do not introduce buyer to any properties where the following conditions exist, and they can put where a seller will not disclose the comp before showing. And if they put that in there, those buyers and those buyer agents, the buyer agent cannot show them the home. They have to tell them, listen, I called about the comp, and they would not say. They said the seller's open to it, but they won't disclose and to just submit it. And based on the terms of the buyer's agency agreement, they don't want to see those properties because it's too up in the air. I think this is where you're going to see a lot of pushback. So we all have to follow the new rules, but I think people are going a little bit crazy because they're not realizing that things are going to change. Sellers just can't be saying at every single turn, I have no idea if I'm willing to compensate. It depends on how good your offer is. That just makes everything more murky. Real estate already, nobody trusts anybody in the business. So to think that one agent could submit an offer with a 2% comp, another could submit it with a 1% comp, another with a 1.5, and then you have to clarify all of their funding. It's not going to be easy for a seller to decide. It used to be quality of the agent, quality of the pre-approval and or proof of funds, and likelihood to close. Now you're going to throw in the other wrinkle of how much they're willing to accept on commission. And then you throw in a secondary wrinkle of people who don't want to use agents, which I don't know how that's even going to work because they're not going to be able to get access at all. And they're not even going to know how to understand any of this comp. So I want you to focus when you go back and watch the 27-minute video on line 109, which is on page 3 of the contract. It's very specific. This is a part where buyers can select not to view properties where a seller does not disclose the comp prior to showing. And if they do that, those sellers are going to receive a lot less showings than they normally would, just because they believe it's better to hide the ball based on the new regulations and that they can't be disclosed on the MLS. You can still offer buyer's comp. You just tell them through a text message. This is how it's working now. But I just want to caution those sellers who are leaving it up in the air. You could be in a problem with a lot of buyers who start to say, I don't want to see houses where I have no idea what they're willing to compensate. It's going to happen. And I think smart buyers are going to do this, because why do you want to spend a Saturday seeing 5 homes where you have no idea whether they're even going to accept a comp or you could pay? So when you're clarifying your budget on a home and now you have to say, well, I might have to pay my agent 2 to 3%, they maybe are going to pay 1%, you're never even going to know what to offer. And then how are you going to figure out what to offer on a home when now you have to figure out, wait, am I getting any comp on this or not? It's going to be really difficult. These are the things that people need to be talking about. It's going to be messy. I hope this has been helpful. My name is Jonathan Green. I run a large solo team, which means it's just me and back-end staff, called Streamline Properties in the state of New Jersey and the state of New York. Have a good day.